Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Talk is at a fever pitch. People say to me, NWA Gold, I want to be a professional podcaster. NWA Gold, I want to be a fantasy booker. NWA Gold, I want to be a UWN roving reporter. We say to that, you have to come to the other Alliance guys. With apologies to Austin Idol. A presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information around the National Wrestling Alliance, the United Wrestling Network, and various independents around the world. My name is Tim. I go by NWA Gold. Please let me know if my mic is too loud. Sometimes that's the case. I'm joined by Dave Scooby, who's out and about right now, and hopefully we'll be able to, chime in here. I can hear you now, Dave. How's it going?
It's going well.
Good. Pollo Del Mar is in the house. That was a mouthful. Yes. Apologies to the great Austin Idol for ripping off his entrance. Ripping stuff off is what we're all about. And yes, Danny Limelight on the Alliance blog. Yes, indeed. Your UWN World Heavyweight Champion recently did an interview with Jay Cal himself, who is himself checking in from beautiful Cabo San Lucas, which I am very jealous of right now. We literally, I'm using the word literally correctly, had 4 feet of snow up where I live. Yeah, man. If I stood on the deck at my mom's place, it would be up to my waist, and I'm 6'4". So it's crazy. Danny is a longtime friend of the Alliance blog. He and Jay are thick as thieves. So, Pollo, a true friend of the Alliance overall. We got to have you on the program. I'm sure Jay's probably reached out already for to get you on, and hopefully that's something that we can do in 2023. Willie Bowen is here. He's got the Tyrus joke of the day. Whenever you see floods, that's Tyrus's toilet overflowing from his large meals. Oh, Willie, that's fairly funny. I made one up the other day that I'm thinking I had to tell Willie, and it was Dave's on mute now, but I need someone to set me up when I do it. Tyrus is so fat.
How fat is he?
He's so fat that a small militia group stormed him, and now he's the People's Republic of Tyrus. No laughter. Are we sure that's the joke of the day? We are not. We are not sure. If there's several people watching right now, please chime in. Let's talk. We're so glad to have you guys here every week, especially in this weird week between Christmas and New Year. We're, I don't know about you guys, but we're kind of half working at work where I am, and some people are off, some people are on. So great to have everyone here in these times. I hope you all had a great holiday. Willie, in case you know, Tyrus has recently admitted he's a barbecue king. Yeah, man, that's something in the Discord. We got to get a link, Dodie, to over into this chat. I just saw that a few minutes ago. It was pretty funny. What was hilarious, though, is that his answers and mine were exactly identical to one another. Pollo's had the last several days off. That is the best. Hopefully you had a great time with family and friends over Christmas, and like all of you guys. Yeah, over here preparing for global takeover in 2023. Us too. So we're right there with you. And this chat, Jeremy, by the way, will be with us in about 20 minutes. He's running late himself. But we are going to be touching on 2 weeks, 4 programs of NWA programming, Alliance Wrestling World Domination. We're going to be looking at NWA USA. We're going to be looking at the NWA Christmas special, NWA Power, and NWA Superpower. And Pollo putting us over, enjoying my Alliance Blog t-shirt on Christmas Eve. Awesome. I'm wearing one of those right now. I am also wearing, I was instructed when I put this on today. My wife has moaned, understandably so, as I put on her purple NWA hoodie to tell you that it is hers. It is not mine, and I must never wear it again. But it is very warm. Thanks, baby. She's pretending she's not listening. We're also going to look after those shows at some UWN Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Memphis Wrestling news. Some updates from Jeremy. And we're going to ask who will challenge Tyrus in 2023. That's our big question for the chat today. And just before we get that, where we'll talk about who do we think is going to challenge Tyrus first, who do we think is going to follow that, and who, if he doesn't already exist now, will be molded into a credible challenger for Tyrus, say around the 75th anniversary. Hey, Pollo says I presented Marco's Pink Alliance guy. That's awesome. And Aching to Do Championship Wrestling from Memphis. 100%. Great programming over there. Here's Dodie. Christmas special is the best post-pandemic NWA episode I've ever seen. Never as entertaining, as awesome as that before the NWA Christmas special. Yeah, man, it was certainly interesting. They're trying new stuff, as Pollo points out. The Championship Series episodes have been friggin' awesome in the NWA. It certainly has been that breath of life. What do you think of it so far, Dave? What's your impression of the Champion Series to date?
Champions Series, I'm actually liking it. It's a mishmash of talent that are having to work together for the betterment of their team rather than just for themselves. So it's quite a bit of strange bedfellows, but overall, I'm really enjoying it.
Why is Dave Scooby hiding his pretty face? Well, Dave's out and about right now, and is unable to turn the camera on presently. But will you be home at some point, Dave, or are you going to be out and about for the rest of the show?
Hopefully I'll be home in 20, 30 minutes.
Okay, great. Hey, what did I want to say here? Dodie says, I am officially a Blake Troop guy. And Willie has been saying for a while, before he ever appeared on the programming, Dodie, Blake Bulletproof Troop is awesome. Yeah, Dave Scooby After Dark. So I admit, I have never seen Blake Troop wrestle before. I'm a Blake Troop guy too. That was just a physically impressive specimen, and I loved the energy. I loved the look. But one of the things I wanted to mention also, just on this very positive program that we have here, is when you said, Dave, the Champion Series is kind of mixing everything up, and there's different possibilities and strange bedfellows. One of the things I wasn't very sharp this day, I guess, when I was watching it but then I went, oh, I get it now. Is why were people cheering for the fixers, say, or booing the fixers, and 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 then I'm like, of course, it's because it's the Champion Series and everyone's on different teams, and I get that now, and it's great to see. I love the roster right there for this. It's such in the crowd around the ring. For me, it's a great improvement. Um, uh, I mean, not an improvement, but it's a great change of pace, and there's so much energy around it. Like this past week, yeah, Blake was a great debut with the NWA. Even this past week, like you see Rhett Titus lose his mind. Like when Kenzie I think it was Kenzie Page gets thrown into the turnbuckle and collab, and Rhett Titus is up, and he's like, oh. It was amazing. There's just so much energy you can't get out of a regular crowd of fans. Which obviously is also good, but I like this change. Listen, one thing just before we start talking about the champ himself, Tyrus, and who might challenge. I had a contest. I'm going to reach over here I'm rebranding NWA Gold. I'm still about just NWA belts and their biographies and their histories and all that stuff mashed together. But I thought I'd take NWA out of my name. I could succeed, as the belt guy, the belt number one belt fan for the NWA without having the NWA's name in my name. And so I ran a contest on Twitter, and I've had all kinds of responses about what the new NWA Gold name should be. And that contest, as of right now, as of 6:05, is over. So I'm giving away this replica belt right here. To the name that I pick. And there's probably been a couple hundred suggested names that I still have to go through. I'm not picking that name right now, but I'll be giving this thing away next week on this show. So thanks for everyone who participated, and hopefully I pick a good name, because it's gotta last for the brand, so to speak. Willie says, think of Ken Shamrock or Dan the Beast Severn, former NWA World Heavyweight Champions with an MMA fighter background. Yeah, that's Blake Troop. Yeah, you really get that vibe, especially with like the bare feet and the the sponsors on the trunk, and just like super impressive looking in the frame. Poyo points out he's still rather green as a grappler, but his upside is there. Yeah, it really is, and I was very excited when he appeared on the show, that he was there. I'm kind of hoping the NWA develops a program where they can say, Dave, coming next week or 2 weeks or coming soon, and they do a very 30-second, 15-second, 20-second package. It's like, Blake Bulletproof Troop, as an example. I don't know how big he is, but like 6'4", 265 MMA fighter coming to the NWA soon, so that I can get interested in someone right before they appear in the actual ring. How about you?
Yeah, I think if they did a few promo packages of new and upcoming wrestlers, rather than do a live interview, you could get people more interested in that particular wrestler and what they're bringing to the NWA.
Yeah, I think it would be a great bonus to have, hey, 3 weeks from now, you're going to see the debut of, well, actually, who else debuted this past week? Oh, the Renegade Twins.
Yep.
That was exciting too. I often equate the NWA to like a minor farm league team in sports, where you're going to see the superstars already, now that they're in the NWA stars, of course, and on their way up, and some of the older talent kind of easing their way out over the next few years. And I really feel with Troop and with the Renegade Twins, that's going to be, and so many others that we're seeing right now. That's really an exciting place to be. Pollo says, tell us what we're suggesting for a name again so I can put on my thinking cap. I've closed the contest. It's been over for about 15 minutes, but it was on for about a month or so. It's too late now. I'm so sorry. There were like 150, 200 suggestions already. I think there's about 3 that I really, really adore. And I'll have to talk to you guys about which one, some of you guys, about which one thinks sounds the best. Willie likes Dak for NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Dak has an amazing upside. I think, Dave. I think it's going to be he's going to be someone who really goes a long way. How about you?
Oh yeah, I mean, with some of the newer players joining the NWA, I mean, Blake Bulletproof Troop, Dak Draper, and I mean, Red Titus. I mean, he's been doing very well in the matches that I've seen, and he fits in with what the NWA is doing now. If they start building up contenders for the TV title and the national title, that's where they're going. I mean, slowly but surely, you'll build people up, and I mean, that's what USA can be used for. You've got several tag teams that can be mixed in for either the U.S. title or the world title, the world tag titles. But I mean, the future's looking bright.
It really is. You know, I met Dan Severn once years ago. He was past his NWA World Championship time. He was doing a convention somewhere, and I get that same kind of vibe from Blake Troop that I got from him. You know, I like Doty says, like those wrestlers who are just give you that vibe that they are legit. And when I met Dan Severn, he was a gentleman. He was very, very, very gracious. And I got this vibe from him. I'm sure we've all met rarely in our lives those people that we come across that you're glad that you're shaking their hand and they're being polite because there's something behind those eyes, unless I just, imagined it, that I just thought at any moment, anytime he wanted to, this person could tear me apart. But great guy. I am a darn dirty no-gooder for closing that, but I did give everyone lots of time. So I'm so sorry. However, Pollo says, I personally think Draper could 100% carry the brand. Yeah, let's, obviously there's a little bit of time that's going to be required and some development of that character and letting us know more about who Dak Draper is. Actually, Doty just pointed that out. Shame on the NWA for not bringing Dak to the interview table yet. He has had one segment where he spoke. He was great. He did a interview with May, and it just flowed right out. But other than that, yeah. There you go. NWA was introducing him slowly but surely. He will unquestionably get more airtime. Thanks for agreeing with me, boss. Yeah, Severn, just behind that mustache and those eyes, very nice to meet you. And it was just, oh, wow. Anyway, the Country Gentleman, Willie says, will be the new U.S. Tag Team Champions, La Rebellion versus BFT. Will also be a great match for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. The Country Gentlemen have grown on me in a way that I did not expect, and I'm glad that it's going to that's happening. And honestly, again, it was because they got mic time. I thought very little of them before. I thought of them. I mean, nothing personal. They're both tougher, stronger, bigger guys than I am, who are experts of their craft. But Dave, I mean, they put a mic in front of them, and Anthony Andrews and AJ Kazana sound like they're, you know, they immediately kind of got over a little bit with me. I was like, this is a much more interesting tag team now that I've heard them speak. What do you think, Dave?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when you look at them, they're just big guys, and you're like, okay, well, they can go in the ring, but let's hear them talk. Well, both of them can talk, and they can back up what they're saying in the ring. They just need to take it up a notch.
Yeah, and be given that opportunity, like Dak and like so many others, just to get on the mic. I deserved a personal invite to name you. I'm a darn dirty no-gooder. You did. I failed you. I apologize. Not to sober things up too much, but this deserves some attention. Speaking of MMA guys, rest in peace to Stephen Bonnar, the last man to challenge Nick Aldis before Nick lost the title, and I always wish to see him on Power. What a sad loss, that his passing was in this past week or so. Such a young age, and clearly a individual who could go. So yes, I did see some of the outpouring online from friends and colleagues of his, just saying what a loss it has been, and I hope that he hasn't left behind a family of any sorts, but it sounds like it was perhaps health related, like, well, obviously it was health related, but heart related. And I've been there. And Dave, have you ever seen him wrestle?
I did see clips of him wrestling, and I mean, the his future was so wide open, and I mean, it's a shame that he did pass, but I mean, if you have a chance, go check out, just Google him or go on YouTube and check out a couple of his matches. It's just way too soon.
Way too soon. Well, yeah, I'll have to check it. I'll be look for that one against Aldis. Just it is so sad. Talking about the country gentleman, though, Poyo points out, until folks get mic time, it's hard to emotionally invest. And this has been one of the great things about the reemergence this year of the Champion Series is, hey, look, it's Maddie Rankowski. She gets to speak. I'm sorry, just Maddie gets to speak. And, the country gentleman and so many other people like Alex Taylor. This is one, he said, we'll talk about it in a bit, but he said something about how, I'm a professional and I'm a ladies' man. I got to get out of here. I got Aerosmith tickets. I had no idea his gimmick was that he was a ladies' man, unless he's rebranding. But I do hope that mic time is something that we're going to see more of in the season ahead. Let's see. I do want to get to the shows, but let me catch up here. The twins, the Renegade Twins, could be pretty empowered. Future women's tag team champions. Poyo says, Willie, I'd love to see Robin and Charlotte get those belts. Incredible talents. Pronounced Charlotte, yes. Country gentleman, Dodie says, Silas and Poyo and Dak, we need more on the interview table. I agree. And I think if I could pass along any message, if someone who works there might be listening, more mic time would be great. I mean, I think that NWA USA was especially kind of created for that, Dave, to have like maybe 2 matches and have a lot of time at the mic. And we haven't seen people at the podium with Kyle Davis in the last year, I don't think, have we?
Not so much. I mean, with a 30-minute show, you can get 2 to 3 matches in if they're 7 to 10 minutes, and you still have plenty of time for promos. don't put everything. Let's go back and check with May. Granted, May does a great job, but I'd rather see them at the podium every once in a while, just coming out. I mean, if there's a tag match, why not have the country gentlemen come out and watch that match to see who their opponents down the line may be?
Yeah, when I think of with the set that they have and recapturing that old style NWA interview, it's at the podium. It's Ric Flair getting punched out of his alligator shoes by Ricky Morton right there with the crowd freaking out. And
Yep.
There are always cool things sometimes where, I'd see Ric Flair on, you and I are roughly the same age, but I'd see Ric Flair on like George Michael's Sports Machine. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yep.
But he'd be interviewing Flair somewhere in the bowels of an arena, and it was different, and it wasn't sort of the mainstay, but look, hey, it's been up, and it's been good. The shows, Country Gentlemen along, Doty says, with Thrillbilly Salers are the most southern 80s of all of the NWA roster. Looking at the history of the NWA, it's not strange we have special feelings for them. Yeah, I agree. Bring those cowboys in, and I think a lot of guys will tell you, those gimmicks are old and they're done, and I don't think so. I think that's in part what the NWA is good at focusing on in terms of tradition and that feeling that you mentioned, Doty. Listen, let's yeah, Willie, Ric Flair ripping off Greg Valentine's tuxedo. There you go. Let's get into it. Let's talk about. Let's do the shows first, because we'll wait for Jeremy to get here as well, and we can talk about Tyrus. But we're going to do 4 shows, and we're going to have to speed through them because a half an hour is already gone. But let's go back, if we can, to NWA USA from December 17th, Season 5, Episode 5. I have a banner for that because I'm a professional podcaster. So this was, we didn't get to this because, and neither did the OG Alliance guys, because of the Christmas break and, things. We had all 6 of us were on the show last week. It was very cool. But we didn't get to USA or Power at the time, and now we've got 2 sets of shows to do. This started off with La Rosa Negra, this December 17th now, versus Taya Valkyrie, Dave. And this episode started out like, and if you don't know La Rosa Negra, she is good. She has been good for a while. In this particular match, Taya was aggressive right off the bat, and Negra is a vet, and then the screen goes black almost immediately and says Rosa is hurt. And writing comes up informing us that she had internal injuries, how Taya Valkyrie kept attacking her, and as a result, Taya Valkyrie is now suspended until 2023. 3 points for Team Pretty by disqualification. Very bizarre, Dave.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, okay, not sure if it's work, shoot, or what. I mean, it threw me for a loop. But I'm like, okay, they're going somewhere with this. Guess we'll just have to wait until after the first of the year when Taya can make her return.
And I know you already mentioned this previously, but it doesn't. I guess I'm used to in the old days when someone would get hurt, they'd be off television.
Yeah.
And then with the continuity and the way the tapings are done, they're both still there in the crowd. And I don't know how I feel about that overall. How about you?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. It is what it is. They can't go back and change it now, but hopefully they'll take note, and in the future, that if there's anybody injured in a wrestling match, that just put them in the back. That put them in the back. They're out of sight, out of mind. You won't think about them until they come back.
Yep. Um, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't know uh, if we have any insight on how. I mean, it's probably just how it's taped and put together and edited, and there was little to be done about it. Uh, this was December 17th, actually, not the 13th. But anyway, and this focused, I should have mentioned on the top, on Team Pretty, um, uh, Team Rock and Roll, Team Rebellion, and Team Gold. So this is when there are four teams back for this event there. But they moved on to Mercurio, who is Team Gold, versus Joe Alonzo, who is wrestling for Team Rebellion. Um, Alonzo kind of out wrestles Mercurio in the beginning with arm drags and drop kicks. He's very high flying and aerial. He really makes an impressive start. Mercurio gets upset about some shots to the face. Don't make me have the ugly face. He returns and strikes and chops, and there's a double underhook and some knee drops. So as he's trying to protect the face, he does hit a tilt-a-whirl, a cutter of some sort. That was kind of neat. And he doesn't cover and is yelled at to do so by his team. He ends up missing a moonsault to follow. He eats a super kick. He eats a springboard cutter. And then out of the blue, seemingly, he kind of hits his unprettier. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. I'm sort of out of nowhere to win, and it's 3 points to Team Gold. What did you think of the match, Dave?
It it was a good match action wise. It just so, something just didn't seem right, and I'm not really sure. It was a little wonky. It was a good match overall action wise, but just some of the interaction between them and how the crowd reacted, it just to me it didn't it had a strange feel to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to get some of those in the Champion Series when styles maybe don't 100% gel,
Yeah.
um, or when there's different levels of experience, like there probably is here. But I mean, it was good, but I agree something was a little off. Anyway, we then get some talking, which as we've been mentioning, very important that we love to see right now. Um, where we have Genocide and Ella Envy and Kenzie Page and Kerry Morton and Aaron Stevens talking to the camera. And you know what? Even when Champion Series is over, I would love to see these. I'm talking to the camera out in the distance. Segments continue. They used to have them early on. They tried them out with those 60 seconds with Mims or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be something to, I get something with the character development out of them, especially in this particular case. I thought Ella Envy's great. Both my wife and I like Ella a lot. She's saying, she does this whole bit where she's like, she's not worried about, her match with Genocide that's coming up next when she clearly is.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to get the fun side of the talent. Um, So we go right to Ella Envy, who of course is on Team Pretty, and versus Genocide, who's on Team Rock and Roll. So Jenna overpowers right off the bat with a full Nelson attempt early. In fact, you can see Chris Masters if you watch the replays, like, hey, or Chris Adonis, sorry, going, yeah, while it's on. And some arm bars. Ella complains amazingly. Yeah, she and Pollo should have a scream off someday as to who would be the loudest in or around the ring. Um, Ella tries to out wrestle her and slaps on a sleeper. Jenna kind of drops her in this sort of a reverse electric chair. It's kind of neat. There's some brutal slaps to the chest, and Ella's really in trouble in this one. Fairly early on, she eats a boot to the face in the corner. Um, she does do this cool bridge, and but she eats an elbow drop at one point and bails out of the ring. Jenna picks her up out there and sends her into the post 4 times. Ella sends Jenna into the post 4 times. I did hear something about, I think it was Galley saying, like genocide bleeding. I didn't see that myself, however. I don't know if you saw her bleeding or not during the match, Dave. Did you?
Not that I recall. I mean, I'll probably go back and watch it now that I heard about it. It may be, it may not. Who knows?
Maybe it was just a comment like, "Oh, she might be bleeding," and maybe I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. So the arm is worked into the post, and Ella finally gets some offense. She sends Jenna into the stairs. She's smashing that arm against it. That's the story here. Trying to take her power away. In the ring again, Ella works the arm. Genocide blocks and reverses a suplex. There's a spinning roundhouse and a leg submission that follow. That Ella gets to the ropes. There is a scorpion kick, I think it's called, and a sort of a springboard elbow that are fun to see. But Ella fights back until Jenna hits her with this sort of shining wizard knee strike, and we'll see more of those things as the shows progress. It was a bit. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just a camera angle. It looked a bit rough. But Rock and Roll advances, and Team Pretty is out in this one. What did you think of Genocide versus Ella Envy?
I thought it was a good match. It highlighted both women. And I mean, Genocide, they just need to build her the right way. And I think this was the start of it. And I mean, it's one of these things of she can still stay strong even if the team doesn't move on, being that it's a team effort and not a single effort. That if she does her part for the team, it keeps her on a certain level. And I mean, I'm hoping that she can move up the ladder and go after. She can go after Camille, or she can find a tag partner and go after the belts.
Right.
Because that's one thing. You have the Renegade Twins, and you have Maddie and Missa Kate, but the Hex have already been there, and they've gone through that cycle. So maybe it's time for another team to be put together and see what happens.
I could not agree more. And here he is now, the Wrestling with the MMA. It's our friend Jeremy. How are you, buddy?
Hi, hello. How are you? I'm doing well.
Good. I'm looking over here and frowning. I have this wonderful cat. He's wonderful boy. He's got this thing where he likes to rip his own hair out with his teeth.
Oh,
Joe, he's got anxiety issues. Strange cat. Anyway, you didn't need to know that, but now you know. It's Jeremy After Dark. It's dark where you are, my friend.
My After Dark would be a hell of a lot better than Velvet's. Let me tell you something.
If we keep
Let
talking,
me talk to you. Mine would be a heck of a lot better.
I'm worried that we're going to see like gags after dark, like that. Yeah. So what did we just do? Rock and Roll advances with Jenna pinning Ella. Team Pretty's out. Then we get Jordan Clearwater. We get Roxy. We get the debuting Ashley D'Amboise. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. We get La Rebellion. I think Max is in there as well, and Mercurio all on camera. So we get that camera time again, which we've been saying, Jeremy, is so it just seems to be like so important. Like I went from like, I don't care about the country gentlemen. They're just, enhancement talent to put people over. We need those. I'm sure they're great guys and they're talented. To like, hey, these guys can talk.
Yeah. Well, and that's the phrase of this decade. Content is king now. If you can get in front of the camera and get it out there to the masses, eventually you're going to hook with somebody, right? There's an audience for everything.
There is. It's they're not the first. They're not the first talent out of the NWA to change my dark mind about from someone I didn't care just because they did something content wise.
Yeah.
And Scion was like that for me.
Mm-hmm.
They made him champ. I didn't care about him, and then he did like something like 7 straight defenses, and I was like,
yeah,
I like this guy now.
And promoted the heck out of him the entire way. Was all over Twitter and social medias, promoting him and all that. So, that was really smart on his behalf. On his behalf to put himself out there like that and to say, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. If you're not interested, oh well. But I'm putting it out there and I'm letting the world know, and that's what you got to do nowadays.
I think you're bang on. We get May Valentine with James Mitchell. She says, I bet you're happy because you're not out there at ringside with Max. He says, no, not really. There's some. Then he spews some nonsense about a purple goddess telling him strategies and how to get on his hands on Markova from before. I don't know if he was referencing something to wrestling in the past that I just completely missed. I'm like, is there a purple haze thing going on here that I don't know about? Did you guys, either one of you guys, know about?
I didn't really understand it either.
Well, we'll go right into Max the Impaler and their tag team partner Ashley D'Amboise for Team Rebellion, and versus Roxy and Natalia Markova from Team Gold. So Team Pretty's already out. Max and Natalia, they go chest to chest when this thing starts. And Ashley ends up tagging Max out, which is hilarious because Max, she gets the slap on the back and Max turns around and grabs her, tries to choke her. But she trades moves with Markova. Ashley does. She eats a cutter. She actually looks a lot like Victoria. If you guys remember Victoria from the WW, I hesitate to say F. Still, was it E? I don't even remember now.
I think it was right as they were getting the F out.
Yeah.
And then she went on to TNA, didn't she? Impact for a while? Wasn't she over there for a while?
Could be. I'm trying to remember. She had kind of anyway. She got sort of a Victoria and ivory look. This Ashley does. She wrestles aggressively. She tags in Max, who tosses around Markova. And someone gets spilled. My own writing got screwed up here. Isn't that funny? Someone gets tossed over the top rope. Looks like Ashley did. Anyway, Ashley beats on Roxy, really smashes the heck out of her. Markova does a pretty one-sided job on her as well, and Max, and she hits the beautiful destruction on Max, and her X Factor style finisher on Ashley. Max breaks up the pin, and so we're kind of getting into the short strokes of it now. Max smashes Markova over her knee, and Roxy comes in to try to intervene, but decides that caution is the better part of valor, bails out of the ring. Max drags Ashley into the corner and tags. She wants Markova. Natalia is caught in another beautiful, um, not a beautiful destruction. Anyway, she bails out of Welcome to the Wasteland by Max in the final seconds of this match to hit a tornado DDT. She gets a 2 count on the Impaler. She manages to tag Roxy back in with less than a minute in the show, and Roxy immediately eats a standing lariat from Max and is pinned. Team Rebellion advances. Team Gold is out, and Vincent Verbex Patterson says, yeah, she did go to TNA with a dumb, I don't know, Souter gimmick?
Soldier gimmick.
Well,
Yeah.
Soldier. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. Jeremy, do you remember this one with this tag team match with match with Max and from 2 weeks ago? I only seem to have basically remember the beginning and the ending from my terrible recap there.
I remember bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
I was surprised whenever the Wasteland didn't get the 3. That kind of gave me pause for a second.
Yeah.
All in all, it was a solid. From what I remember, it was a really good match, and everybody looked really decent in it. You know.
Yeah, it was pretty good. What did you think of it, Dave? Oh, Dave's at home now. Hey, there's 4 of us here.
Wow.
I'm going to remove the other Dave. How about that?
There we go. And a big smile from him, too.
Yep, made it home.
Perfect. We were just talking about the end of NWA USA in the tag team match with Max and Ashley D'Amboise in her NWA debut against Roxy and Natalia Markova. Max ended up getting the pin on that. Team Rebellion advances. Team Gold was out. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do. I was glad to see Max in the ring. They just need to figure out what to do storyline wise and what direction they want to go. I seriously push Max for maybe TV title.
Yeah.
Because seeing how they responded to when they had the it was 3 or 4 weeks ago where Max was in the Rumble match.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do we do? Max is a wrestler. You wrestle.
Yep.
Right.
So, I mean, I'd like to see them push Max because they can only push Max so far on the female side. And being that Max is non-binary nightmare, just let Max run wild on whoever.
Yeah.
Right, left, or right down the middle. It doesn't matter. Max is a wrestler. Let Max wrestle.
Yep.
I mean, and I don't even know if now these days if it should even be controversial or not anymore. I mean, how many years has it been since China was Intercontinental Champion? Right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly this, but it's as close as in a comparison as we can get.
It sets that precedent, though.
Yeah, they're wrestlers, and I mean, people get so uptight on, oh, well, my pronouns are this. Well, okay, that's cool, but this is wrestling. Wrestling is real, but it's escapism as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That I'm sorry to say, genocide is not a robot, but she's doing on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyrus is a big monster guy. That's cool. Trevor, he's a redneck that likes to get in the ring and just whoop some ass. That wrestling is reality up to a point, but they're playing characters.
Right.
But if they're playing themselves, just let them be themselves and do what they need to do to get over. I actually liked the match. seeing that the new girl Ashley took the pin, that's cool because Markova has already been beaten by Max in that casket match.
Right.
She doesn't need the loss. It doesn't hurt her if her team loses. Her team didn't win, but she didn't lose. The team overall lost. So I mean, it's one of these things of they're putting good matches together. They're mixing it up. When they're doing these tag matches, I'm noticing that they're having a more experienced wrestler with a newer wrestler, and they're tagging them up. So you build up the experience in the ring, but you're not having to do it by yourself.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, all in every point there, and
Guys, we've hit the big time.
yeah,
Hot girl spam.
yeah, hot girl spam. We actually get it all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm usually quicker on blocking it, but they're usually quicker on going hot girls, hot girls, hot girls. So anyway, let's go to Power. It is season 11, episode 6, back before Christmas on the 20th. We start with the captains talking on their members. You got, Jeezy going, I told Tyrus, don't pick Murdoch. He'll try to get the belt from you. And Tyrus going, I respect Jeez, but there's the second toughest mofo in the NWA is Trevor Murdoch, and I want him on this team. You get Kerry and Ricky on Kerry really kind of just putting over Chris Adonis and Tom Latimer. La Rebellion talk about Kylan King and Odinson. And then we get Markova and Kerry and Maddie and Samantha Starr and Chris Silvio. Thank God for Chris Silvio, Esquire, if you guys don't mind me saying.
Oh, no, not at all.
On Dane versus Murdoch with like the glorious violence, that is going to happen today. They put him in the right spot to anchor this sort of segment of people. But again, guys, I get so much out of just, okay, I get a feel for Maddie. I get a feel for Samantha Starr. And anytime, like I say, I can hear Chris Silvio talk about Jack Stain, is a bonus for me. He's such a great addition. But we go right into Jack Stain, who is Team Rebellion, versus Trevor Murdoch, who's Team Tyrus. In the beginning, and this was like the start of Power and like the biggest match you're going to see in a while. Dane plays with Murdoch right off the bat. He's bailing. He's leaning out of the ropes. The lockup kind of has these, when they do meet, these two massive guys, fairly even. They trade corner releases. And where Murdoch, of course, backs away as a face should. Dane does that, and then shoves him. And there's some blows right out of Murdoch, and Dane just bails. And Murdoch follows him out. Dane goes in, and you look for that spot where Dane's going to stop him, and Trevor just stops and goes, "Boop, right here, buddy." That, by the way, is the thumbnail if you're watching, Jay, for the show. Or you're putting that on YouTube. He just he's too smart. Silvio takes the mic and he says Murdoch's trying to get disqualified and the trick won't work. So Trevor beats up Dane on the outside. Dane pulls Ashley D'Amboise in the way to stop the assault and gets Murdoch in the ring. He takes over with some punches, some strikes, some boots, some chokes. A big hoss fight. He cranks the neck a while, but Trevor doesn't drop the arm a third time for the submission. He tries to make his comeback. Dane shuts him down with a kind of a release Samoan drop, and he pops the trunk on Trevor and there's a delayed pin. And when Dane gets around to it, Trevor's leg is under the rope. So they fight outside, and Trevor throws him back into the ring for the bulldog. Dane keeps bailing. I like how Dane is like the smart monster in this thing here. How he's listening to Silvio, and he's sort of this giant with a brain, who can play with you. Where am I here? Rosa distracts Dane when he bails out at this point. La Rosa Negro.
Yeah.
She does some dancing, and then she smacks him in the face. Dane rolls back in. Trevor goes to work with a clothesline, the boot, the pop-up power bomb. He goes to the top rope again, looking for the bulldog. Ding, ding, ding. The time limit expires. It is a draw. Probably should have seen a draw coming. I wasn't really thinking it. I was just enjoying the match. What did you think, Jeremy?
I enjoyed it, and I'm like you. I probably should have seen a draw coming, but I got wrapped up in the match, and it was a really solid match. I enjoyed it a lot.
Great to see two hoss fights, two guys going in a hoss fight. Dave, what did you think?
It basically saved both guys from a loss or looking bad. They don't.
Right.
Both those guys, they don't need a win. That with the time limit draw, either both teams get a point, or I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it didn't hurt either guy or either team. It could have helped them, but it didn't hurt them right off.
And there's a lot of these finishes in the Champion Series. Basically, at least one a show for the major players when they meet in these matches, and that's cool. That's understandable. I get it. It was good for what it was. They weren't tearing down the house on a pay-per-view for the world title. They could, but they didn't need to here. And I thought it was all right for what it was. We get Kerry Morton. We get a lot of Kerry Morton recently. Yeah. I'm not done with Kerry by any means, but I would like to see. I don't know. I don't know if I want them to cool it down yet, but I don't want him overexposed. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
We get Kerry. We get Bully Ray. We get who else was it? They talk about the 6-man tag match to come. Which we go right into, and it's Bully Ray, it's Tom Latimer, and Judas for Team Great versus Chris Adonis, Dak Draper, and Mims, Team Rock and Roll in a 6-man tag team match. I don't know why it needed to happen in this order, but I mean, I would have put Dane and Murdoch on last, but anyway. Good. It was a good way to start the show. Adonis and Latimer start. They shake hands. They're old, strictly business buddies. Latimer, that's who it was. Latimer in his interviews, did you guys notice? It's sometimes, in any sport, you look at the guys in football or even basketball where they're 9 feet tall and you go, oh, they're pretty tall. But sitting down and talking in front of the camera, Tom Latimer, he's huge.
Yeah. That guy's ridiculously big.
Yeah. And Chris Adonis has lost some definition. He's getting a little older. Tom Latimer makes him look small.
Yeah. It's weird at just how different and in a short time too, because Adonis didn't look that small the last time he was in the NWA.
Yeah. Yeah, he really has. I don't know. Maybe he's
going leaner though. Because he was packing. He was what? He was billed at 240.
I would think, yeah.
Lean that, and he's getting up. He's not getting any younger. He's what, late 30s. So, lean that muscle mass down some to save on the joints and everything and taking bumps.
But when your gimmick is, no one can escape the master lock because I'm the most powerful man in the world, you might have to rebrand the whole package, so to speak. Anyway, nothing but love for Chris Adonis, but
Oh yeah,
he's got some years left. They have fun in the beginning of this, as they did a season or two ago when they met as strictly business members
yep,
in the ring. You know who's good in this match and looking even trimmer is Judas. And I'm not a Judas guy. Normally, I don't really know anyone who goes, "Hey, Judas is,"
right,
but he does well in this match. Draper is his victim before Mims gets in and kind of smashes him up. And then Mims turns on Bully and kind of shoves him and calls him out. And Judas just kind of like you want Bully, and he kind of just okay.
yeah,
That's it. That's it for you, which I thought was pretty cool and very in character.
yeah,
It's the big high five tag to Bully. Bully takes Mims out on the apron, and that's what happens. Bully takes out when he's thrown into the other team's corner. He takes out both guys and knocks them to the floor. And they grab his legs and they pull him crotch first into the ring post.
yeah,
We get Adonis, Draper, and Mims working over Bully, who finally after a time tags out to Latimer, who's a house on fire. Mims has to break up a pin, but at the ending of this match, I was a pretty big fan of. We get Bully and Judas hitting a tower of pain on Mims, and then Latimer and Draper assisting Bully in the delivery of a 3D, which was just fun on Draper. And that's the end of this match as Bully pins Draper and Team Great gets the point. Dave, what did you think about this one, the 6-man tag, as far as 6-man tags go? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, I think.
All right. As far as 6-man tags, I didn't mind this one as much as I've minded other 6-man tags because of the experience in the ring.
yeah,
Judas is looking in better condition, and he has the size. It may just be who he's with and the character he plays.
Right.
That he has the size, and if he's in the ring with the right person, he could be shined up really good.
mm-hmm.
But the experience won out. I did like the match overall. I'm just hoping that when it comes down to the finals, that we get some good matches out of the finals, and we get some good storylines out of the actual Champions Series.
Right. Yeah, I think that will be key. Hopefully, that's what we're building all this stuff. Here. Would you like the ending, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with Dave. For as far as the 6-man tag went, this was really good. Any outside action, going outside of the ring made sense, which helps a lot. And the experience in the ring, that played a huge factor in it. Knowing when to go out and take a powder, when you need to do this or whatever,
Right.
It was a good solid. It was a good match where the action stayed focused for the most part on the two individuals that were in the ring and didn't deviate from that too far. And that is a step in the right direction, because a lot of times in the past in the NWA multi-man matches, we tend to miss stuff in the ring.
Right, we do. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So this one was a lot more refined, I felt, and polished, and played out really well. I enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked that Dak took the pin. But it was to Bully Ray, so Did you really lose there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great point. If we get May Valentine with Silvio next.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this already, but May says to Silvio, like, hey, look, how's a tie a victory? How are you claiming victory in this match that Dane just had with Murdoch? And he's like, we had a plan. I told everybody Murdoch couldn't beat Dane. He makes Dane so much better. And Dane is good. I got no problem with Dane. He's just that's this whole look. If you don't get it, sweetheart, you never will.
He's the perfect mouthpiece for
he
him.
Is.
He's
annoying without being, talk is at a fever pitch kind of annoying.
There you go.
Right? I just I don't know. Like Chris Silvio makes me smile as a manager, and I'm glad he's around. We get Kylan King and Allison Kay and Camille and Marty Bell talking about the match ahead, which is Allison Kay for Team Tyrus versus Kylan King for Team Rebellion. These two ladies refuse to release the lockup in the beginning, and they roll out of the ring and into the roster seated crowd. They roll back in finally just to break the 8 or 9 count, and they try a test of strength. King tries to pin AK in it and goes for a crossface. She escapes. She eventually wins a suplex battle between the two, taking King over. The fight spills outside again, and King is dumped hard onto the apron at one point. AK gets pretty methodical on King. She's targeting the back. She's reverting to those loud chops that rock around the arena. King ends up winning an exchange of shots to follow with delivering chops of her own. At one point, AK tries a pile driver and eats a German suplex. She kicks out, and AK locks in an STF, but King muscles out of that. She locks on her own crossface. There's nowhere for Allison Kay, your former NWA World Women's Champion, to go. She tries. She can't make it to the ropes, and she taps. Any shame for Allison Kay here, Dave, to tap to Kylan King?
I'd say no. Allison can go as a singles wrestler, but you always look to right now she's wrestling tag teams.
Right.
So that may have brought her not her ability, but her being used to being able to tag a partner, tag Marty. That if push comes to shove, I can tag out and rest. Well, when you're one-on-one, you can't rest. And I mean, she's already been at the top of the mountain. So they're building up new talent in Kylan King. Now I'm hoping she's able to stay with the NWA. She has been on Impact. But if everybody can play nice, we can shuffle wrestlers back and forth, and they can appear on both shows. And then down the line, I would love to see a crossover pay-per-view of some kind.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I want to get your thoughts on the segment that follows. I know we kind of skip over segments normally, but I had to laugh. May Valentine was with James Mitchell, and she's like, "How does it feel to have such great talent?" He's like, "I'm a proud father. Judias deserves to be seen in the NWA. He was recently the subject of a triple-blind study, and I think it was like the Helsinki Institute of Genetic Abnormalities, something ridiculous. That proves he has a genetic abnormality that gives him 5 times the pain tolerance of a professional football player." I was laughing pretty hard. I don't know that it was supposed to be. What did you think?
Well, where to start with this one? I mean, I got to give it to Father James Mitchell. You know, the man can talk. He can spin a yarn. You know, and I think with and that's in his gimmick that whole genetic abnormality and stuff works. Kinda, it's still kind of silly, but with the exception of Max the Impaler, who isn't silly in that damn group?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
You
it's
know,
clear that they're trying to put Judas into the next bracket, right?
right, right. And I
But
mean, more power to him. You know, go for it. Give the guy a shot. You know, he's been mainly a background kind of guy up until this point. So why not bump him up to that next tier? You know, see if he can hang with it.
I want to see a wrestler, guys, one day with a gimmick like Judas. Doesn't have to be Judas, who just kind of gives up in the middle of a promo and goes, you know what? My name's Steve Bennett. I'm from Idaho. like this is BS. I
I'd
will
pop
beat some
so
people up.
hard.
What's that?
I would pop so hard.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of when I was thinking about this earlier was beaver cleavage, like Chaz just going, "I'm not doing this anymore" and walking out. Right?
Did you
Years ago,
did you hear that Vince Russo came out and
I did.
blamed all of us for not getting beaver
Yeah,
cleavage?
it's our fault. It's our
Like,
fault for not getting beaver cleavage.
what was your payoff gonna be, bro?
Bro, you're not as smart as me, bro.
Bro. You know, bro. That man cracks me up.
Yeah. Look, we get Jeremiah Plunkett, PJ Hawks, Luke Hawks, and Alex Taylor. As I said at the top of the show with Dave, kind of rebranding himself as a ladies' man here, or at least taking this opportunity to brand himself at all as more than just some guy with long hair. To say, like he says something like, I'm the guy who kicks ass and gets ass. Can I go? I got Aerosmith tickets.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny on the match ahead. And so it's PJ for Team Great and versus Alex Taylor for Team Rock and Roll. And it's lots of good chain wrestling and amateur wrestling in the start of this. PJ has such an upside, and he's already really good. What is he, like 22, 23? Can't be any older than that, can he?
I don't think so. Let's see here.
He looked that up. Taylor has a great look too. He's done something with the shaved the sides of his head. Looks kind of cool. But he's caught in a Hawks clutch submission attempt and a series of pins. He ends up, they call it a drop kick to the leg when PJ goes into the corner and tries to kind of spring up to, maybe go back with an elbow or something, and he gets drop kicked in the back of the leg. Looked pretty neat. And then he hits her sort of second rope, like PJ's on the second rope, and Alex kind of hit as that second rope backstabber. That's kind of a cool move. He begins to out-muscle and out-fight PJ because it's clear from the beginning of this match that he can't out-wrestle him. He hits this, that he said it before, this really cool tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. He ends up getting two. Taylor misses a turnbuckle toss. He eats a back suplex. PJ follows up with some hard clotheslines and a suplex or two of his own. Then he goes for that submission that I think is the Hawks clutch. And Alex, strange ending for me. Alex rakes the eyes, Dave, and then Schoolboy pins PJ. PJ at the end is upset and he's flopping around like, he raked my eyes. I thought, I don't know. It wasn't a great look. I thought the match was good other than that, though. Dave, what'd you think?
It was a good match with some young wrestlers. I liked it. I didn't like the Alex using the eye scratch for the win.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ill Begotten by no means are baby faces. But it's
Right.
one of these things of down the line realizing you don't have to take shortcuts to win.
Right.
That if the match would have gone on maybe another minute, EJ may have been able to switch things around, but just keep going. I mean, you're attacking the leg, get him in a figure four, drape his leg over the rope, do something.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a cheap win, but it was a win for the Ill Begotten in that we're not bad, we're not good, we're the Ill Begotten.
I just thought it was a weird ending, Jeremy, where, like he's getting wrapped up in a submission hold, and it's like, I rake, schoolboy, and then that was it. Like it seemed like something maybe you'd see Roddy Piper do back in the day, but pretty much nobody else. And then that weird, I hate to use the cornet word of afterbirth, but that flopping around, he raked my eyes, which was just not a good look.
Yeah.
As Luke stares like death, daggers. Luke's always so angry. What did you think of the match?
Overall, it was a good match. Like Dave said, we got to see some good young talent that knows what they're doing in the ring and is capable of putting on a good match and getting a good story out there. The ending and the afterbirth, I think, like Dave said, they're not good, they're not bad, they're just the ill-begotten boys,
Yeah.
So it kind of fit. It kind of fits. I'm not sure. I think as the weeks go on, we may see this get fleshed out a little bit more and get a firmer grasp of maybe what they're attempting to do. We may be getting a change of some sorts.
Yeah, maybe. It will be interesting, like you say, to see that. I'm suddenly worried that I've turned off the chat because it's never this quiet for this long. I had to block like 6 bots that were trying to offer us hot girls, which maybe I shouldn't have done in retrospect. But regardless, it was. I wonder if I did something to the chat. So if one of these, there's several people watching, I can see. If someone can just like put something in the chat, just drop me a line to make sure that I haven't done something to it. That's the NWA power for that particular week.
Cage match has PJ listed at 24 years of age.
24. Yeah, and just graduated college.
Yeah.
Just a baby.
Still got a lot of years ahead of him, and he's already this good.
100%. Listen, let's push through. Hope you guys don't mind me going a bit faster. We'll do the NWA shows, and we'll go a little quicker through it. It's already 7:23. The NWA Christmas special, December 24th. We get Joe, Kyle, and Velvet to open. Hey, listen, last year was a disaster. Joe got hammered. This year it's sober, but there's edibles on the table. And I kind of went, hey, listen, no judgment. But I thought Rick Del Santo's son is watching this right now.
Yeah. Now in the This is the NWA podcast, that's Kyle's constantly going on about his gummies and stuff. So
Okay. Well, it does start this strange show. Maybe strange isn't the right word, but
kooky?
What's that?
Kooky?
Kooky, yeah. I don't know if you guys remember well, I'm sure you do, like WWE Cavalcade, Saturday mornings. It was the Macho Man, Randy Savage, will face, Barry Horowitz in the main event. It was a bit like that, but It is the Fixers to start the show versus Alex Keitel, like Harvey Keitel, but spelled differently, and Shepard Lutz. Wrecking Ball Legursky's got a Nerf gun now that he uses.
Yeah.
The Fixers basically stomp 2 prelim guys out here. Wrecking Ball no sells a ton. Bradley won't go down either, even from a really cool missile drop kick. They do their armpit spot. They do their slingshot into the ass spot. There's a double choke slam on Lutz for the win. Anything here, Jeremy?
This really seemed like a match for the boys.
Yeah.
Let's just get our stuff in. You guys aren't going over, so we'll just kind of do the thing and have a little fun.
Hey, we're being offered a promotion for our show.
Go to Doge Hype. Oh yeah. You put Doge in anything, I automatically just that's 100% verified to me there, buddy.
There you go.
Take my money.
Let's take turns through this stuff if you don't mind, guys. The country gentlemen like Christmas.
Yeah.
They aren't bad on the mic, and it's a shame that they're going to get upstaged, even if they win later by Rolando Freeman.
Yeah.
But the match we'll talk about next, this one's for you, Dave. Eric Jackson versus Soda Pop. Battle of the prelim guys. Eric, look, we want some positive upside here. Eric Jackson is in tremendous physical condition.
Yep.
He is built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
And Soda Pop, if you watch this match again, you won't, but if you do, yeah, thank you, Jason, for verifying that I'm not crazy. He is quick as lightning, Soda Pop. He is up so fast. There's some decent amateur wrestling in the beginning. It's somewhat clunky, but Jackson gets the opportunity to show us he's got a finisher with his bridging German suplex. What did you think of the match between these two young guys?
I thought it was a very good match. I mean, you got to have new talent develop, whether it's for one match, one taping session, 1 season, 2 seasons, however long. Not everybody's going to be a winner, but I like that they actually put a couple prelim guys together to give a win to one of them. And I mean, Eric Jackson, he's in hell of a shape. He can go in the ring. Soda Pop can go as well. It's one of these things that wrestling in front of all the other wrestlers, this would be one of those things of, JTG, maybe Pope, or who knows, just an established wrestler can watch these guys, and then they can maybe tape something backstage of, hey, good match out there. You may want to do this. You may want to do this. If you have any questions, come ask me. Where they have more or less, they're being an advisor, but not being in a manager role. That it's just one of these things of, hey, we're all in the wrestling business. Let's help each other.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be cool. We do get, and if I were a darker soul than I usually am, which does happen, I would say that the miserably faithful explain Christmas accurately in the next segment. They tell us that it is commercial retailers that have taken over a once proud holiday and made it about avarice. And may however, a happy winter solstice, James Mitchell tells us, and may all of your stains be large. I don't know what that means. I thought about it. But I thought, again, our friend Rick Del Santos kid watches this show, and he might go. Anyway, we do get the country gentleman taking on the Freeman brothers. So Rolando does this little dog in a big his little dog in a big fight routine. He gets beat up after causing mucho damage on his own. The gentleman politely at one point wait to receive a body press when he's thrown into him. It's awful. Miraculously, however, the gentlemen do pin Rush after a sloppy tag team combo. It's kind of like a heart attack, but not really. And poor Rush. He always gets beat up while Rolando looks strong. Who did I go to last? Was it you, Dave? Did I send a match to you last? I get mixed up sometimes. So Jeremy, Rolando doesn't, even when they lose, Rolando isn't the one who goes down. It's Rush Freeman who takes the pin once again. What'd you think of this? You have a great New Year's too, Willie, by the way. Oh, there you go. Just do like 3 minutes of sighing. Just go like come off the screen. Come on.
I'm really at a loss for words with this one because it just the Mississippi River is Tyrus's bathtub. Holy shit. Thank you, Willie.
Thanks, Willie.
I'm wondering what Rolando has on Billy.
Yeah.
I like him, and I feel awkward saying that because I like Rolando. He has grown on me. He works his ass off to promote the NWA.
Yep.
And he goes out there and he is a showman. He can work the crowd.
He's not the worst thing in the NWA by half.
Right?
He just needs to stop winning.
Smallest thing in the NWA.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that disparagingly to him. My wife is 5 foot. I'm 6'2".
Right.
Small people it happens, And he's out there and he's doing his damn thing. He's got the heart of a bulldog in a Chihuahua's body. So that's awesome. Eventually he has to look up at the lights. Sooner, and for me, honestly, sooner than later. He has to take a pin, and it has to be decisive again.
What I rail against
any offense or anything, just go in there, steamroll the guy, pin him, leave, wipe your heels on him, and walk out the ring. Just walk up to Kyle, and he's done. He wins no more. Something. I don't know.
Yeah, Trevor Murdoch. How about that? Like, hey, when you used to duck me when you were champ and you wouldn't get okay, let's go right now.
Yep.
Choke slam, power bomb, pile driver. Like it's whatever. It's over in a minute.
And then building back up again, I don't care. Yeah. But I want to see him take a loss again.
Yeah. Make him a manager. Like what I rail against, Dave for Rolando, who I keep saying he's got a place in the NWA, is that not only does he keep winning, I think last week we listed all the wins that he's got and the people he's got him over, but his whole thing about I beat Matt Cardona twice, well, that ruined Matt Cardona as an NWA World Heavyweight Championship competitor for me.
For me too.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's move on. Happy holidays from Deals and Candy, who's speaking now. That's cool. to everyone except Medusa. Is this still a thing? Is he still hate Medusa? And is she still on camera? I don't know. Doesn't matter. The Mortons wish us a happy holidays. Then we get Gags, the Gimp, versus Rhett Titus. There is a bit about stimulating the horns.
Yeah.
There is an attempt by Velvet and Galley, who apparently consider Gags a friend, to start calling him Double G. That's the name he likes to be called, is Double G now. Look, Dave, this is not a terrible wrestling match. It can't be when you get the guy behind the Gags match and the professional Rhett Titus. There is a drop kick to the tongue and the belly to belly that follows as Rhett Titus gets the pin over Gags. What'd you think of the match?
I mean, both guys can work. Overall, it was a good match. I'm tired of the gimmick.
Yeah.
Just let him wrestle.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say about it. I'm happy to see Rhett Titus pick up a win.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
This was, we've been talking about these segments and things have been said about may all your stains be large and stuff like that, whatever the other one was. This one actually kind of made me go, is this a little too far? Because Santa's on the screen. And I don't know, I didn't recognize if it was someone behind a Santa beard, but it was Santa. And he goes, I really wrote it down here. Oh, he loves the NWA. And it's, thanks, babe. Appreciate that. My wife is the best. He says, there's no bigger fan in the NWA than Santa, but it's too late to fix what list you're on, boys and girls. If you're on the naughty list, no time to change that now. So Merry Christmas to some, but not to all. And for about the third time, I thought, is Rick Del Santo's young son going like, are you serious right now? Like half the Christmas movies are about, It's a Wonderful Life and the one with the train, Polar Express, and A Christmas Carol are about changing right up at the last minute into a better person. Why would the NWA even put this on here? I mean, I don't know, guys. We don't have to talk about it, but it was bizarre to me.
Wow.
If it was like, no, Tim, you're not getting it. It was Jack Stain. He was under a beard. Then great. I didn't see anyone I recognized in the Santa costume, though. But anyway, I'll carry on. Look, I'm going to carry on past this, too, because Kyle and Joe and Velvet and Austin Idol are in an unwatchable segment together where they're exchanging gifts, and Joe has bought Velvet a gift card for like nipple clamps and bloomers from a store that Gags goes to. My wife who's watching it. Yeah, my wife who's watching it turned to me and said, commentators don't need backstories.
No.
I'm going to pull a Jeremy right now. And I went, yes, you're correct. James Bell is here and he says, worst bit ever. Yeah, just terrible.
And then the one that followed after wasn't all that great either.
Before we get that to there, though, we will talk about the Renegade Twins.
Yes.
Debuting against Ella and Roxy, pretty empowered. Robin insults. I couldn't hear it. I tried to listen to it twice. Yeah, Robin, Renegade. Yeah, she insults Ella, and Roxy ends up starting. Robin is solid in the opening minutes of this match. Charlotte is no different. She hits just as hard. They have an impressive start to this. Ella gets mean on Robin and stomps the shit out of her at one point. Roxy gets some revenge on the beating that she takes in the beginning with a flying knee drop on the ropes. the crowd here, talents or otherwise, really support the Renegades. Really happy to see them here.
Yeah.
They're nice big pop. Robin finally hits an enziguri and flapjacks Ella when Ella storms into the ring to kind of break it up before a Luthez press on top of Roxy and laying in some pretty good looking punches. And, and there is another show to go. There were some bad punches on that show. This wasn't. She did a great job. Ella breaks up a fisherman suplex with a bridge, saves Roxy from a finisher, and with Kenzie distracting the referee, Ella hits Robin with the belt and covers for the 1-2-3. Pretty Empowered come away with the cheap heel victory over the debuting Renegade Twins. Dave, well, I'll go to you both, but Dave, what did you think of the Renegades in their debut?
I mean, those girls can go, and they're just a few years into the business. I'm not sure. I know they're from Texas, I believe, and they either trained with Rodney and Jazz, or they did some training with Booker T. But they've wrestled for Mission Pro quite a bit, and they are the Mission Pro champions, or at one time were the first tag team champions. It's good to see them, and I liked that we have fresh blood.
Yeah.
That they didn't win the first match, but they lost by hook and crook. That Ella uses the belt when she knows she can't win.
Right.
Yeah.
And that Pretty Empowered, even with Roxy as their third, they've never really won a match, quote unquote, the legal way. It's always been outside interference, double team, using the belts, using the ropes. It's one of these things of you have to build up these other teams and these other wrestlers that are around you. So when you finally lose the belt, it means something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not sure how many more matches the Renegade Twins were in, or if they were in any, but they have a bright future ahead of them, no matter where they are.
I agree. I think you do too, Jeremy, by the way you're nodding there with the Renegade Twins. What was your impression from them?
Solid. I mean, just a solid tag team. They're there, I feel. I looked them up, and they are, as Dave said, they're Mission Pro Tag Team Champions. They're former Continental Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and they were ranked number 73 this year in top 100 tag teams in PWI.
That's great.
The match was really good. I enjoyed watching the Renegade Twins come in. Like Dave said, the Pretty Empowered, that's pretty much their calling card anymore, is that if they're going to win, it's going to be by nefarious means.
Right.
I'd like
like La Rebellion for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see them kind of get away from that a little bit, or change it up to where it's not either, like Dave said, outside interference or a belt.
Right.
You know?
Heels should be able to win legit as well as doing
stuff.
Yeah.
And they should be able to win legit every now and then as well. As far as in this match, I think that it was the right way to end it because they were clearly outmatched. I think had it been Kenzie and Ella in the ring and not Roxy in there with them, we may have seen probably a legitimate win with just a little bit of distraction possibly. But I don't know. we got what we got. But I'm excited to. I hope that we get to see more of the Renegade Twins and the NWA, and it adds some much needed depth to the women's tag team division.
And I hope they don't just disappear. Like I'm concerned that I haven't seen the Now at the tapings in the background. Where are you guys? We need you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll. Hey, Media M5's here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Hey, media.
We get Gally and Kyle and Corgan. Gally's high, and Corgan says more shows and live events in 2023 and some surprises. So that'll be fun. Then we get the
worst
main event.
Owner acting I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to. They should have just had him take edibles and then come on camera. That would have been better. But we get Kratos, the most feared in the main event, against Willie's guy, Blake Bulletproof Troop. Troop has the look. He's barefoot. He's a shooter. I like the sponsorships, if that's what they are, on his trunks. He signed with Chris Silvio, which automatically makes him at least a mid-card talent to start in this place for me.
Yeah.
Media's already saying he just got home. He's been out and about, but not happy with the main event. Why have Troop debut like that? The only person who hasn't lost on their debut in the last year at least is Dak Draper.
Yep.
So it should be expected. However, let's see how it happens. There's good wrestling to start. They go head to head and trade shots. And JR Kratos, I keep calling him JR. Kratos wins that fight. He does that deadlift suplex from the bit that he spot that he likes to do. Troop recovers, looks a little sloppy with a power slam. He favors those knee strikes with that MMA background. His ground and pound for pro wrestling, at any rate, doesn't look great in this match. But boy, he's an impressive specimen. Just and the way he moves, right? He's loose and whenever he's
constantly in motion.
Yeah, constantly in motion. He locks in a guillotine, and Kratos powers out to a standing position. He ends up recovering after a diving clothesline. Silvio interferes, and Troop low blows Kratos before suplexing him. But Kratos has his foot on the ropes, and he ends up hitting another rising knee strike, which we've seen twice in the past week, at least twice from different people. Genocide did one. I don't know. He's exhausted at the end of this match, which is great, I thought. I'll go to you, Jeremy. He's beaten Troop, but he's exhausted, and I thought at least that gave some credibility to Troop, like he was a hard guy to beat. Yeah,
definitely. I like that little flourish that he did there at the end of I'm this guy took me to the limit. While he came out victorious in doing that, he also helped to put over Blake Bulletproof Troop a lot more than people probably would realize, because this is the most feared Kratos. He don't get tired.
Yeah.
So that was big, I felt. And I really enjoyed the match. I like how Troop came out, his look and everything. He looks like a badass. And came into that ring, like you said, with the fighting shorts on, barefoot, constantly stayed in motion. He never stopped moving. And if you're going to come out there and portray the shooter, that's what I expect to see. I expect to see those boxing movements and stuff, and never, always keeping your opponent wondering what way are you going to go. So that was, I enjoyed that a lot. And it was a solid match. I really liked this one.
What do you think, Dave?
Overall, for his first match in the NWA, It was a good showing. He didn't need to win. He just needed to survive.
Right.
Right.
That it's similar to like when the WWF brought in some of the shoot fighters. And I mean, like Steve Blackman.
Right.
He didn't always win, but he was on level up until that one little move that he didn't catch, or he got snuck up on, or something. That it's one of these things of MMA and wrestling are two separate things.
Yeah.
You can do both, but in the end, you're in a wrestling ring right now.
Yep.
Right.
It's not, oh, guys, break, go to your corners. No, you have to do what needs to be done to win. And I mean, him going to the limit and having Kratos basically wore out by time he won. If they do things right, and putting him with Silvio and him working with Jax Dane, that'd be one hell of a tag team. Plus just the knowledge.
Right.
The knowledge of Jax Dane and the knowledge of Chris Silvio to get him up to the next level. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Troop in the NWA.
Me too. Kyle and Joe are joined by Tyrus and Jeezy to take us out. I thought it was funny. I made a note. It's like, we couldn't say happy holidays without you, champ. He's like, no, like contractually, Joe, you can't say goodbye, happy holidays without me. I thought that was great. Let us speed through NWA Superpower Season 11, Episode 7 from the 27th after Christmas, of course. We start with Clearwater versus Mercurio for the TV title. There is a 6:05 time limit in effect. Jordan Clearwater wastes the first minute or two of this match expertly. He smashes Mercurio in the face. Mercurio retaliates. He's in control for the next 2 minutes. Clearwater takes over the 3-minute mark with some strikes and blows. And Mercurio drops him with that vertical suplex into the backbreaker deal that he does so well. But Austin Idol distracts, and Clearwater hits the Midas touch. It is over with a couple of minutes left in this particular one. Jordan Clearwater looks strong in one of his first defenses. What did you think, Jeremy?
I enjoyed this one a lot better than I did his bout against Mims right after he first won. I like that he got it done and over with quickly. He shouldn't have. I'm not sure where Billy sees Mercurio on the pecking order, but as far as I'm concerned, it definitely needed to be under a 4-minute match, and I'm pretty sure that's what we got. So,
That's it exactly. It did more for Clearwater than it did damage to Mercurio, I think. So
exactly
made him look good.
Yeah.
Dave, we get the Mortons and the Fixers again because the heavens have not closed, the sun has not died, so they are still battling. It has been 7 months that they have been in not liking each other. Let's just put it that way. It's non-title. Ricky Morton won't shake hands, and for the first time in this feud, I kind of got the impression, and I think correctly, that Ricky Morton won't shake his hand because he knows that despite the fact that they are pretending to be baby faces, they are in fact underneath the core of things heels.
Yep.
And I kind of went, it's kind of neat in a way that Ricky Morton's the guy who sees it, when nobody else does, so that he can go, I didn't want to tell you guys so, but I told you so, Anyway, Ricky works the toes like he did in the singles matches against him. Kerry's overpowered. He can't outfly the Fixer's strength. If that makes sense.
Yep.
The roster kind of boos the Fixers as this happens. Legursky's super dumb in this match, and and funny in their very slapsticky way. But they work over Kerry pretty good, and Kerry ends up getting a hot tag. Ricky can't knock down either fixer. It was it was kind of sad. Oh, hot tag to Ricky, and then Ricky can't do anything against them. Like they just he can't knock either down with his clotheslines. He's going to get squashed, but he rolls out of the way in the corner and rolls Wrecking Ball up while Kerry holds Bradley back. Ricky Morton gets the pin in this non-title match where the Mortons go over the fixers. Dave, your thoughts?
It was, the end of the match, it was right place, right time. He moved out of the way. He was there to hook. And for what it was decent, but I just wish this storyline would end. That Kerry needs to concentrate on the junior heavyweight title, defending that, and working with others that are his size. It was just it's almost one of these things of you have to suspend your belief to look at a guy like Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball and go, you guys lost to those guys. Nothing against the Mortons, but they are who they are. Size-wise, they're not really intimidating. Ricky has all that knowledge in his head, but it shouldn't have happened. If anything, I would have done a wonky finish where it was a disqualification, or a count out or something, because this just keeps the storyline going when you have several other teams that are actually teams. I don't look at the Mortons as a team. It's a father and son, but the son is already a champion. Why go after the belts?
I'm kind of hoping.
Why even put them in that situation?
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm kind of hoping, since Ricky's doing his last few dates with with Robert Gibson, and he's doing some dates with his son, that he has that last blow off match soon. Kind of like Ric Flair walking out one last time and just has a match with FTR, because that just feels like a team that would do that match and loved it. In fact, they've already had one with FTR, the Rock and Roll Express, a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Where FTR, by the way, got down on they made one of those "we're not worthy" kind of things to them afterwards. So it was great. But I'm hoping he just becomes like a manager for Kerry, and hang it up. Like let's call it a day. We love you, Ricky. Please. Let's put you into a less combative role. Anyway, Garrison Creed versus Jeremiah Plunkett versus Trax in a 3-way match. Haven't seen Garrison Creed or Trax in a little while. Nice to see Plunkett, wrestling again solo. The opening sequence between the three of them is good. I think that Creed has an upside. I think Trax looks super strong at least to start and most of the way through this match. It becomes a regular 3-way as they take turns bailing, of course, but Plunkett hits a nice spine buster. Trax is very physical in this match. There's a good spot where Plunkett convinces Creed to ally, and then they both end up hitting one another accidentally. The shoulder tackles by Trax in the corner look the shit. Like, if I had seen that dude coming, I would have been like, "Here we go." Creed has the best look. I don't know if he needs the face paint, but I think he's got the best look of the three. But it's Jeremiah Plunkett with the pile driver on Garrison Creed, who has not won a match yet in the NWA, but whom I dig as Deals holds back tracks. And I think the story they were trying to tell, Jeremy, was that Trax was going to be, he was really in control of this match near the end. What did you think?
I liked the match for a 3-way dance. It was good. There was good focused action in there. With Trax, I'm not sure where they're going with him, but I do feel that there's a good upside to him. And with Creed, I'm with you. I don't get the face paint. He doesn't. I feel he doesn't need that, but maybe to each his own. It's what he wants to do right now. So I guess
Sure.
one of the things that stuck out with Trax with me that I don't think I noticed before was his short boots.
Yeah.
He's got the short boots on, and you don't see those too terribly often at all anymore.
Nope.
I think the last person I saw was Goldberg that still does the short boots, but that's it. That I don't know why that stuck out in my head, but
because nobody wears them. That's why.
Yeah, But again, like I said, overall the match was good. I was happy to see Plunkett win. I love Jeremiah Plunkett. The guy's he's great. I would, but at the same time, I was kind of surprised that he got the win because there towards the end, Trax was definitely in full control of that, and
He was.
I felt it could have went his way just as easily. So we'll see if maybe this blossoms into something between him and Plunkett, or
This was a weird show. I mean, being superpower, so I don't know if anything will happen, but maybe they're bringing him up. But it's surprised to see Plunkett get the win. Happy.
Yeah.
Media says they can cost almost as much as full length boots, the shorties. So, look, let me press on. I'm going to press through this one and give Dave a better one to comment. You get question mark 2 versus damage. Look, question mark recently beat Mac and Rocket. It was, for what it was a decent hitting, hard hitting Haas fight. Basically, Aaron seeks the opportunity to use a loaded glove and apparently uses it. Although from the angle that it looked, I don't even know if he hit him. And damage pins him, and that's all I can say about that. I don't want to give question mark 2 much time to take up for us. We get next up Kenzie Page versus Camille in a non-title match. So Kenzie Page pisses Camille off, and Camille just tosses her around. Titus is amazing in the crowd. Like Camille throws Kenzie so hard she just nearly breaks in half, and Red Titus is like, oh my god, it's unreal. At one point he's got a bottle of water, trying to give her some. Paige works the arm for a long time in this match, enough to make you go, which is great. It goes on for a long time. It's a decent story as she's trying to break the champ down. She ends up taking Kenzie a hard fall on the apron, and Camille hits a power slam at one point and has her torture rack deal, which I would like to see someone submit into at one point. But it is really cool how she spins her out and into that sit-out power bomb. She goes for the spear, Dave, and Kenzie moves and slaps on the crossface. Never seen that before. And then it's Ella Envy interferes, and it's a DQ as Kenzie is in the a sleeper hold of sorts. She double spears them, Camille. She double spears the World Tag Team Champions, World Women's Tag Team Champions, Dave. And that's the end of that match. What did you think?
It told a good story. I do like champions against champions, even when the belts aren't on the line. It just gives more to the match, the meaning of the match. Uh, it did keep Camille strong. Uh, I don't know. I'm not sure where they're going with Pretty Empowered, but they need to figure out what direction they're going to go, and just
Get
go
there.
that direction. Get there quicker.
Yeah.
I know. I sometimes say, well, I wish they'd tell long stories. Well, you pick and choose what your long-term storyline is going to be, and make sure it's a good one.
100%.
You should be building up other people to go after those belts, rather than having your champions face each other. In my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
And there's only one thing that I noticed, and I'm like, I thought I had seen it in a couple of Camille's matches, and I'm like, is she wearing her wedding ring? So I went back and watched. She wears her wedding ring in every match she has. And I'm just like, that's sort of strange. I'd be like, well, Tom probably spent a little bit of money on that. I'd probably tuck it away and not be in a match with it, where it could either injure someone, you could break it, you could lose it. But I mean, it's little things, because I was like, she's wrestling, and I'm like, what is that glint? I thought she had something around her wrists or something, but she had.
I mean, tape it over at the very least. Right?
I mean, it's just little stuff like that. I'm like, okay.
Let me say this very cheekily, if I may. She wears a wedding ring. Her husband wears a belly button ring. And if you were giving me the option as to which one I would like to see go away, you have two guesses, and your first one doesn't count. I hate that he. It's like, I think he's amazing. I do hate that look.
I'm a piercing guy. I've had some exotic piercings. Like I had a Madison, which is just the throat, the skin on the throat. I've had my sides pierced. I've had breast adornment. Guys should not be wearing navel rings.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm all for it, whatever anybody wants, including him. But in the pro wrestling world, I don't know how that looks. Everything about that guy is masculine. Don't get me wrong, except that one thing. And I don't get it. I don't get the belly button ring.
Yeah, I don't. No.
Main event time, guys. Joe Alonzo and La Rebellion. Love Joe's half face paint, by the way. Really cool. Versus Clearwater, Scion, and Tyrus. They got all the gold, baby. I had originally written, gee, I wonder how this is going to go. And it didn't go the way that I kind of thought it would. But Tyrus is thinning out still even more. He looks trimmer for Tyrus than ever. La Rebellion looked really good against the Great Scion. Mecca calls in Tyrus, and Alonzo tags himself in like, I got this. And when he kind of turns around and sees that it's Tyrus now, he tries to tag out, and La Rebellion go, nope. And they get off of the apron. So he's stuck in there alone. Idolmania beats the bejesus out of Joe Alonzo. Lots of quick tags from them, showing us why they are who they are. Cylon. They should call him Cylon, giving him the red. Anyway, Battlestar Galactica, the best reboot in TV history. Anyway, moving on.
Never watched those.
Oh man, so good.
I could never get into it. Buck Rogers, I liked.
In the 21st and a half. Oh, wait, that's Buck Rogers. I like Buck Rogers too. They really beat the snot out of Joe. Sion is really aggressive on Alonzo. Of course, they have a history. Alonzo finally tags out when he's against Jordan Clearwater. Meckenwolf is on fire enough that he even takes out Tyrus in the corner. There is I'm distracted because media said Aaron Gray was freaking hot. Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Baby. There is great tag action, but a not yet recovered Joe Alonzo demands to be tagged back in. Tyrus is waiting. He hits the Tongan death grip and slam that follows. This one ends probably as it should be. What did you think, Dave, about this one?
Overall, I mean, it was a good match. It highlighted almost all your male champs. Joe Alonzo, he could be down the line almost another Colby Carino, that he's just the smarky guy. Oh, I got this. Don't worry, blah, blah, blah. And then he has to deal with Tyrus. I mean, it's one of these things. And I mean, the way the match was laid out, it made everybody look good, even in a loss.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Vicky Farmer, who welcome to the show. Don't know that I'm familiar, but thank you for being here. It's just pointing out Camille usually has a rubber rig on, which I didn't think about in the industry I'm in. A lot of the guys who I work with have a wedding ring that is, can be if it gets caught in something, can be torn off. It's like a rubber or almost an epoxy compound ring, and it's it'll come off easily. So maybe it's something like that. Jeremy, what'd you think of this one?
I liked it. Joe Alonzo spent a lot of time in the ring. They kept him pretty isolated for a while. I don't really remember too terribly much about the match itself, but I enjoyed what I saw. What I remember, they told a good story in there, and it was well done.
It was. I thought it was pretty good for what it was, and I liked how Alonzo's arrogance just kind of lost it for their team. Jeremy, take us home with some UWN. Actually, we'll ask one question at the end of the three of you guys, but take us home with some UWN action from this past week.
First off, we've got Memphis Wrestling, and they had their Hardcore Holidays Christmas Eve show. And we started out with Reverend Ash Taylor, and he came out and disparaged the crowd, which brought Tommy Dreamer out. And he and Ash trade some words before Tommy drags him around the ring and cracks his head on a couple of ring posts and smacks his head off the wall, and then proceeds to lay him out. Dreamer tells the audience that he's had a long history with Memphis Wrestling, and today he'd like to add another check mark on that list and be in the main event for Memphis Wrestling this week. So later on in the main event, we will have Tommy Dreamer. We then go to a match with Jason Genesis and Goddess versus the Gun Show Bret Michaels. The Gun Show starts out strong, but the numbers game quickly comes into play, with Goddess getting involved when and where she can. Genesis is able to get in some decent offense and is improving nicely in the ring since his debut a couple months back. And I think that Memphis sees something in him, or they wouldn't be going up against somebody like Bret Michaels. Michaels eventually gets the upper hand and hits the Gun Show lariat, gets the cover for the 3. And then after the match, he tells Dustin Starr that the contract is signed. He doesn't care if it's today, tomorrow, next week. He's going to get his hands on Mike Anthony.
Okay.
We then get Aaron Roberts and Justin Case. And Aaron's problem with Zay Washington, according to Justin Case, is that Aaron didn't like playing second fiddle and that Aaron wants to challenge Zay to a hair versus hair match. And he also wants a title shot at the Memphis Internet Championship against Tim Bosby. But he's pretty sure that Bosby won't oblige him on that, which Bosby then comes out and obliges him. So we get the Memphis Internet Championship match between Aaron Roberts and Tim Bosby. Bosby is outmatched in height, size, and in-ring experience, and Roberts uses this to his advantage. There's some good back and forth, but Bosby is unable to really do any damage. Just can't get the big man up. Roberts continues to toy with Bosby. Roberts misses a clothesline and goes face first into the ropes. As he's coming back off the ropes, Bosby is able to get a belly-to-back suplex on him. Goes for the 3, but can't get it. And then Zay Washington comes out and attacks Aaron Roberts, forcing the DQ win. After that, Zay agrees to a hair versus hair match. He's ready to do it today. Dustin says he's got to get it signed off by the committee, so we'll see that in the coming future. Then we get a commercial for January the 15th. Blake Christian and James Ellsworth will be coming to Memphis Wrestling. Excited to see Blake Christian come to Memphis Wrestling. We'll leave it at that.
I saw Ellsworth on the poster.
Yeah.
Funny.
I nothing against Ellsworth.
Right.
He had his 15 minutes and he made every bit of it that he could, and more power to him, Then we get Dustin Starr with Team Wrestle Center, Ray Sanders and Derek the King, minus Big John Dalton, who is at home tending to his father, who was brutally attacked last week by Mike Anthony. Santa Claus comes out and presents the Memphis Trios Championship rings to Ray and Derek the King. We then get a video package of the Hollywood Clique, and Hollywood Jimmy Blaylock has gotten Van Vicious and Colton Cage a number 1 contenders match with a stipulation. They get that match if they can beat Ray Sanders and Derek the King. We then get a video package from the Posse, who ruined Christmas last year. And this year it looks like they're looking to end Christmas altogether because they have kidnapped Santa. Someone needs to call the FBI on these guys, because that's the second person that I'm aware of that they have kidnapped on that show. Just saying. Then we get Dustin Starr with main event Bradley. Bradley once in the main event against Tommy Dreamer. He beat Uncle Mikey last week to prove that Uncle Mikey is no more than mid-card Mikey, and he is main event Bradley. So Dustin Starr says, all righty, you've got your match. We then go to the Hardcore Holiday match between main event Bradley and Tommy Dreamer. As the match starts, Tommy quickly starts laying into Bradley. Bradley rolls out as soon as the opportunity arises. After running around the ring, Uncle Mikey comes out and throws Bradley back into the ring. Bradley looks for a handshake, which Tommy obliges, and then bites Bradley's hand. Coming back from the break, Tommy hits Bradley with a trash can. Then Dreamer sets him up on the ring post, but Bradley ducks the punch, and Tommy ends up hitting the ring post, which allows Bradley to get the upper hand. Bradley grabs a trash can, decorative candy canes, and a Christmas kendo stick. Oh my. Bradley sets up the trash can in the ropes and proceeds to hit Tommy with the kendo stick. This gets Tommy fired up, and he ducks the headshot. He sends Bradley into the trash can. Uncle Mikey then comes out and gives Tommy a bag of Legos. Bradley gets in a low blow and grabs the barbed wire Christmas tree and attempts to DDT Dreamer, but Dreamer reverses and hits the Dreamer driver for the win. And that is Memphis Wrestling.
I'll just before you move on. This is media. For myself, Dreamer being there saved that show. I'm sorry, but I'm losing interest in Memphis. Can't get behind any of the wrestlers much regular roster wise. CW itself, I can. Better filming location. I guess he means Hollywood. Better matches, better wrestlers in wrestling, in my opinion. I know what he's saying because it's a bit of a rougher around the edge product, but I still like Memphis.
Yeah.
I still think it's pretty decent. But I thought I'd throw that up there.
Yeah, and it is. It is a little. It still has some polishing to do, but Dustin has a great mind for the business, and David Marquez wouldn't have partnered up with him if he didn't feel that he was going to be able to take Memphis in the right direction. A lot of the guys that we're seeing on there are still new. New to the business. They're fresh out of the Wrestle Center in a lot of cases. So, considering that, I've had more issues with the NWA than I have with Memphis Wrestling. I'll say that.
Media parts company with you saying it's the wrestlers. For the love of God, some of them need to eat a steak right now if you can beat them up. I doubt that, however.
They're like Main Event Bradley's a great example. He could definitely use some size to him. Ray Sanders is another one that could definitely use some size to him. But they're being utilized, I feel, in the way that best suits them. Dustin's not out there putting them in matches to where they're going to squash a Titan or something like that.
Right.
So I feel that they're on the right path, and give them another year or so, and I think we could probably see a better polished product closer to what Hollywood is presenting right now.
Okay. So what happened in Hollywood?
With Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on 12/25 of 2022, I got the greatest Christmas present that I could have gotten that day. Kind of. And new champion, Danny Limelight. That was the show, babies. If you want to know what happened in that match, it was, I'm pretty sure, went about 52 minutes. It was the entire show, was their match. That was it. I'm giving you no spoilers. I'm telling you nothing that happened other than Danny walked away victorious because it was a banger. It was a banger. Clearwater defended that title with honor, I feel. He had a great run with it. Marquez shined the spotlight on him bright, and that kid let it just glint all off of him. And the sky's the limit for him. But big ups to our boy Danny Limelight. I mean, I knew what was going to happen, and I still popped when that 3 came out.
Yep, so good. And Jay was there, and he got the clip that we show at the top of the show. I'll play it at the end, maybe. But boy, they went the better part of an hour.
Yeah.
And so proud of those guys, just as a fan. They look great.
They put it all out there. And again, as I say every week, watch Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Championship Wrestling from Memphis. These guys have the blueprint. Memphis is still a little rough around the edges, but Dustin's taking them in the right direction.
James H. Jackson says, "Boo! Hollywood is still golden." LOL.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. The crowd was completely behind Limelight, but that crowd, Clearwater definitely gave them a title run to remember, and it's far from his last one there, I feel.
Yeah, and he follows it up. James does. What a match. Hollywood is really firing on all cylinders. The crowd is really popping. Even media saying, I enjoyed the card through the show as a match as a whole. You hardly ever see a match go nearly an hour anymore. And Danny's a New York City guy, but I can't wait for Clearwater to get it back. I don't know, man. I'm good with Danny Limelight as UWN world champion for a while. I think
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
solid move.
I foresee them giving him a run on par with what they did with Clearwater, if not a little bit more. But like I said, this definitely isn't the last time that Clearwater holds that title. I feel unless he goes someplace else before Dave can put it back on him again.
I'm going to ask. I am actually late to be somewhere, but I'm going to ask you guys. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Like I wanted to go back and rewatch it, but I'm going to do that because you got me out like right now after I get back from what I'm doing because I'm so jazzed to see that match again now, just from talking about it.
Yeah, beautiful match.
I put something in the comments. Just to take us home today, if anyone, if you were thinking about this right now, who takes the NWA World's title from Tyrus down the road? Let's think about 75th anniversary, something like 7 or 8 months out, maybe even longer. Who would you say is the most credible contender for Tyrus's world championship right now? Media says Tom Latimer, EC3. Just has to be done smart. Dave, what do you say? You're picking one guy on the roster, or even if he's not there yet, some guy you could build up and see this happening with. Who's it going to be?
You gotta work Tom into the picture somehow. Latimer has so much to give the NWA, and he's been treated like shit.
Yep.
If you're Billy, do you wonder, or you probably would already know, how close are Latimer and all this anyway when it comes to business? Like, I forget the expression, but they, basically you don't walk out on business for friendship. You got to get paid. And is that a concern if you're looking at Tom Latimer, who, by the way, Tom Latimer's the guy. Tom Latimer, Blake Troop, got to go with Tom Latimer.
And I'm the same. My pick is for Latimer and secondary Scion. Surprisingly enough,
you beat me to it. Carry on.
But the way that he's carried that title so far, I mean, the guy, he's really grown on me in the past couple of months. Jack Stain's another great option, but I feel that Latimer has been on a collision course since episode 3 or 4 of season 1.
Yep.
It's just the first time I saw him, I was like, why is he in a tag team? Why isn't he going after the title? And then he got in Strictly Business, and I understood why. Not there anymore. I want to see you in the main. I want to see him at least go for the title.
I would not be unhappy with Tom Latimer. He'd be, there isn't a second choice. There's a 1 and 1A. And if he's my 1A, then what I see, I know I'm going to get laughed in the weeks to come out of by some of the guys in the chat, is Scion becoming that challenger for at least down the road at 75 or beyond for Tyrus. There's got to be a couple of guys who go down and defeat him in front of Tyrus before that. But I can see very easily, and I'm not a fantasy booker like Mr. Scooby is, but I can see a storyline that has, the national champion saying, I'm your number one contender. I have defended this thing a dozen times now. I'm proud to be national champion. I want my shot at the 10 pounds of gold. And then Tyrus going, sure, buddy, you got it. Just like I said, I'm just making stuff up as I go here. And then he gets jumped. And then he loses that mask. And then you were never my son, whatever it might be, right? And his second go around, maybe, the man underneath that mask I think, could be built as a potential challenger without the mask, let alone with the mask. I think you could build him up that way. And I think it feels like the way that he's connected to Tyrus right now, that he seems to like he's in the best position for me.
I like what Hitman says there, that he can be what Chance Prophet was years back, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, booking is what separates Hollywood from NWA. Lack of good booking, utilizing the amazing roster they have. Of course, Willie doesn't think anyone like Tyrus can beat anybody. Spoiled Rob. I mean, if there's enough of it, I imagine.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's getting trimmer, Willie. He's getting a little, trimmed up, Tyrus. So, but there you go. Can we rely? James H. Jackson Jr. says. On Billy, though, to get the booking and storylines going to do that. I don't know. None of us know.
He's starting to surround himself with more people that have a broader knowledge, a more in-depth knowledge of actual storytelling in the ring and stuff. So, next year we're getting our first live Power, and they're supposed to be going to more frequent tapings. So hopefully, we get that. We get more cohesive storytelling and storylines and stuff moving forward.
Yep. I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm glad to see Tom Latimer as like a main answer for people. Jack Stain. These are all good choices. Sion is the weirdest choice, I know. But I could see it happening and him becoming even more than what he is. And I really would like that the idea of, by NWA rules, I am the number one contender. Which we haven't heard in some time. I thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
But guys, I think that's it. I think that's it. That's all. We've gone. Our 60-minute show has gone 2 hours and 30 minutes. But wait, listen, we had to do 2 full weeks this time. That's our excuse this time. Where can we find you on social media, Jeremy? What's going on with you?
You can find me over on Twitter at HJWOTS, Wrestling with the MMA. And you can find me on YouTube at Wrestling with the MMA. And I will be posting reviews and such after the first of the year. So I will be posting on Twitter when those start dropping.
Can you put your link in the chat or send it out on Discord or something?
Yes, I can.
I had trouble finding it last week.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, thanks.
I'll put it in the Discord right now.
Okay. And Dave, what about you, my friend?
You can find me at Dave Scooby on Twitter and Instagram. And like I've said before, if you have any suggestions for some fantasy booking, next year we start brand new. And we'll figure out some good fantasy booking for the NWA, and who knows, we may even do some fantasy booking for the UWN.
Fantastic. That'd be great. Hey, listen, Media, who's a friend of the show here, as well as a member of just the NWA fam, he is going to have an ECW channel up that'll be semi-edited. So amazing. That'll be
nice.
Great. Fire that over, and we'll promote the heck out of it as it gets going. That's it for us. Thank you, everybody. It's been a great year. We did this. I think we called this episode 25. It's actually episode 26, but we did the annual. And hey, it's post Christmas. 25 episodes. How perfect is that? And just 3 guys who decided we wanted to do this stuff with you guys, and Thank you for your support. It's been a great year. We look forward to a new year with the Alliance and the NWA fam. So until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Blog every week. You heard it here first.